Hey, welcome to the Chuck and Al Show, the space where real life meets real conversation. I'm here with my friend and pastor, and together we're exploring the questions that don't always fit neatly in a Sunday sermon or in a soundbite. Every week, we dig into the stuff that we're all wrestling with: purpose, doubt, hope, relationships, and the chaos in a modern world, and what it actually looks like to live with meaning in a world that never slows down. No perfect answers, no pressure to pretend, just two friends thinking out loud and inviting you into the conversation. This is the Chuck and Al Show. Let's get into it.
When you're feeling low, face is all aglow. Welcome back.
Hey, welcome back.
I miss you, man. You missed a whole week. What's happening? Are you okay?
Life has thrown me some curveballs.
Okay.
Nothing that can't be managed, but there's been health things and work things and kind of all the things coming all at once. Things have felt easier in life than the last month, but I think we're on the other side.
Good.
In 2 weeks. I give it 2 more weeks of kind of chaos at work, and then we're leveled out.
You know what I'm going to do?
What's that?
We're going to pray right now.
Love it.
Because I guarantee you, if you're stressed and lots going on, there's a lot of people listening, so I'm going to bless you and everybody listening. Heavenly Father, thanks that even on a podcast we can come to you, talk to you, ask you, and you do it. So everybody listening, for Keaton, for myself, I thank you that in these times that are rather crazy, life comes from all different directions, that we find peace in you, we find hope in you, we find a smile on our face, a song in our heart, and I give you thanks. And whatever we talk about today, Jesus, just let it resonate with people to find some hope and joy in life and become stronger in faith. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. How's your life been?
Same. Busy.
Yeah.
I went to California, and from the moment I got back from L.A., nonstop.
I really think that trip brought out kind of a new vision for you.
It did.
Yeah.
I needed it.
That's really cool. I mean, a trip that was completely unplanned, completely unscripted, and I feel like you've come back with a new vision for where you want to go.
Yeah, I think because there's so many ways to go in life, right? At my age, it's like, okay, how do I want to, I don't say wrap this thing up, but you know what I mean by that.
You're round and third.
Yeah.
You're in a reflection chapter.
I told Robin.
But you still have time.
Yes, I told Robin I feel like I went out with a shotgun mentality and came home with a sniper.
Yeah.
I just know what I love to do. I know what I want to do. And I know what I want to build in my life. So,
do you think that came from being around people who had that vision? Is that what inspired you, or was that kind of the purpose of the event, to get people laser focused? What do you think?
I think the event is to get you laser focused on you, because that's what.
So the topics and the speakers were pointing you that way, or was that just like the community that was there?
It was the community that was there, but the reality of what they were doing was everybody there just did what they did well.
Yeah.
And I don't think it really mattered what you did. Just you do you, but do it well. And so rather than, we're in Atlanta, right? So there's churches on every corner, and everybody.
Multiple churches on the corner.
And every growing church has, this is our mission, this is our vision, this is our process, this is our next step. And even the pressure of Easter, right, that's coming,
it's the big day for everybody.
And it's, I told this to somebody, and maybe you can give your opinion.
Okay.
I said, here's my take on Easter after 40 years of doing this, right? It feels like Easter is a Disney Vacation Club sales pitch. In other words, if you'll sit here for 2 hours and let me tell you about a Disney Vacation Club, then I'm going to give you a free week.
Yeah.
But the reality is not the free week.
Come on over into our hospitality suite, and we'll that's like
the reality is to sell you the pitch, right? We want the buy-in. We offered the free product. Hopefully we could pressure you for the buy-in. I just feel, and I could be wrong, feel free to tell me, I feel like a lot of church Easter is really, we tell you we love you and we're glad you're here, but there is buy-in, and we really want to market the buy-in because we need you in a group and on a team and what your next step is. And so really it's not about celebrating Jesus today. It's like we got people here who need Jesus, and we need to tell you what your next step is. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
It's a great thing. But I feel like it's more a marketing ploy than this is just who we are, this is what we do, we're celebrating Jesus. But I do also understand people come and go, dude, what do I do next? like, where do I go next? So I don't think it's a right or wrong. I went out to LA and I came home with just know what God wants me to do. And back to my point, it becomes very challenging to go, well, this church is doing this, and this, and this, and just landing on this is what I do well. And I'm not you've been here long enough. I'm not a marketing guy.
Right.
Like, I don't market the church, or this is so sad. When you come here, there's not a lot of pressure either. Like, you better serve, you better get on a team, you better tithe, you better.
I like your chore analogy.
I don't mean
love
better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just you better tithe. I mean, mine is I want you to own your 50 feet.
Right.
So for me, the end result of gathering on Sunday is that your next step is to own yourself, not own my vision, but yourself, and which is owning your 50 feet.
Right.
And so even the mission of what I'm trying in my heart to accomplish is a mission beyond just the Sunday gathering, always pushing 50 feet, which is rather than you need to be in a group, get on a team, you need to be here every time the doors are open, we're going to keep you busy, you better serve, or I won't say better, you serve, and you should. I think if you're part of a faith house, you should work and serve and be part of it and give and support. But the end result for me is own your 50 feet, meaning you take Jesus and live for him everywhere you go all the time, representing him. So I feel like I came home with, I just know what I do. I'm going to do it well. Some people may like that. Some may not. There's a church on every corner. If you don't like this one, there's a lot of great ones around. So plug in, get involved. Yeah. Some people love that structure. They love the...
Well, okay, so I can give you my opinion on Easter, but then also to the point you're making too, accepting the fact that no place is going to be perfect. The best churches that I have gone to, I didn't like them when I first went. But staying through hard things and things I didn't like, they're now my favorite churches in my heart. Yours, one of them, my church in Florida, was be another one where it's just like, man, like when we first went to that church, it was like, man, I don't know if this is where we want to be. Right. But we just kept going, and leaving that church was one of the hardest things we did because it's just like, man, this has a place in my heart. And I think it can be challenging. You're never going to find somewhere perfect. And the piece to Easter is, okay, so the church looks at it and says we got an opportunity where more people are going to show up than any other week in the year. At least I believe that's what you're saying in the boardroom. Never been in the boardroom, but my guess is that's the thought, right? What I've always struggled with as a person who served on teams every Easter forever is if we don't bring this same level next week, if they come back, which is our goal, what does that really say?
Okay, so here's my answer to that. Last week, I was talking with some guys. You know, we're doing an outdoor service.
Yep.
So we're taking Saturday, 2 Sundays, crunching them into
everybody in one spot.
So we met last week with the production people, and we're like, okay, all right, we're rolling around everything. And I stopped, and I said, okay, this is going to sound really awkward. I said, I'm not trying to have an overproduced Sunday. I said, I'm looking for, it's outdoors.
Yeah.
Here's what's strange. We're not having TVs.
Let's just pray real quick.
Yeah.
Lord, may it be sunny and 75.
Come on.
Amen.
It'll be 10:15, so that helps. I said, we're not going to have TVs. We're not going to have a large sound system.
Do we have an acoustic drum set here?
No. We could get one if we needed it.
Yeah.
But what I meant by that is I don't want to
overproduce it.
Yeah, I don't want to go out there and go, let's try to re-mimic Sunday, but better.
You're not going to have like guys flying in on cables overhead.
I'm like, it's Jesus' resurrection. Put a band out there. Let's get some good equipment with good production, meaning
good quality.
It sounds good.
It sounds good, yeah.
But look, this is outdoors. We're going to be on a trailer bed. But what we want to introduce you to is our community of people who love Jesus. We want to talk. We want to celebrate his resurrection. We want you to meet other people that you've probably never met because we have 3 gatherings, and we do about 200 a gathering. So on that day, there's probably going to be 600 plus people. So all of the details, where are we going to park? We're working on that. What are we going to do? But at the end of the day, I always have said this, even back in the 1990s when I was on staff at a church, I think I said it on the podcast one time, like, when does it stop? When is like, it's always like we're trying to outdo it.
To the next level.
We're always,
Yeah.
this Sunday has to be, next Sunday has to outdo this one.
Right.
Oh my
we
God.
We need to meet on Tuesday to talk about what we did wrong this Sunday. So
bigger, better.
Yeah.
What are we going to do next week? And I love that. How do we improve? How can we be a better group
we
of people?
should do it well.
We should do it well always,
Yep.
because it's for Christ, right?
Yep.
Give it the best shot. But it's this drive that constantly pressures leaders to.
Do you think that's church culture or just American church culture? Because I think that's just American culture.
I'm
Right?
going to start with ego. It doesn't matter how many. Ego is always, especially with men.
Yeah.
Ego is in the mix, and I'm a little on the other side of it, so I'm not act like I haven't had ego.
Sure.
I'm just on the other side of going, I've been there when it's about butts in seats. I've been on staff when it was about every Sunday has to one up the next
What's the
Sunday.
numbers?
What was the offering? How many people are tithing?
How many people gave their life to Christ? Like all the numbers.
And so, I just landed on, and this sounds where I've landed. I just want to love people. I want you to come to Believers Church and go, dude, they love people. What they do well is love people, and they love you well. And also in that, I don't want to play a game with you and manipulate you. I want you to know, because I love you well, I'll tell you the truth. And I want you to grow in Christ. So I have a lot of space for that. I think at the end of the day, our job as Christians is to make disciples, period. And that's not performance-based, production-based. That's dirty. It's long-term. It's messy. And it doesn't always put butts in the seat, because discipleship usually runs people off.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have time for that. I just want to show up and click a button and go home, or serve on a team and go home. And so what I'm really praying for our house here is that at the end of the day, I would like to hear this. I don't know if it's true, but this is what I shoot for. Man, they love you well, they care for you, and they help you grow.
Yeah.
Period. That's the sniper. That's just what because there's 1,000 things we can do.
Those things, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, and someone could call in and complain that we share similar opinions, but that's why we're here doing a podcast. Sure. Those things you said, they're anti-ego, because I can't love you well when there's 5,000 of you. I can't disciple you well when there's 5,000 of you. Not on a personal, individual level.
Right. And
there's no cut against anyone who's run a big church. I think big church is great. I like big church.
Right. Yeah. I have to me, it's not even about large versus small. It's a mission. And this is my mission.
Yeah.
And this is what I do and what I love to do. I think I said it to you before. At the end of the day, if you gave me a chance to franchise or have my own little coffee shop where I made the best hamburger and chicken.
Steak. I thought we had steak.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to do steakhouse.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. I just want to say, this is what I do. This is what I make.
You come here, you eat this just how I make it.
Yeah.
And it's only right
and
here.
And I had a talk with a friend of mine. We were chatting about it. And I said, look, at the end of the day, I just make chicken. Think of it that way. But I make the best chicken I can make. Would you say the same thing
40 years ago?
No. Yeah. God, no. I was anything that came down the pipe, I grabbed it and thought, this is it. This is the next wave. This is the next thing. This is the next big thing. Every church is doing this. You need to do this. If you want to grow, you better do this. And so you just chase a lot.
Yeah.
And I was a church planter anyway. So, in the early years, you're just chasing this is in my heart, because there wasn't knowledge and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all of it. So you didn't really know what was going on the other side of the country unless you just had a friend that knew a friend.
That called you. Yeah.
And so a lot of my early years was just, dude, this is what God put on my heart. Let me run for it. And then,
there was nothing to stop you.
No. And then, everybody begins planting churches. Then there's churches on every corner. And then you start judging your success. And then
that's how we got all the flavors of coffee.
I think I always want to be better. I really do. I always wake up with, I want to be the best version of what I'm called to do. I don't want to be sloppy, but I think I've just nailed, this is what I do. And I will say, I have no desire in my soul to franchise. It's not my heart. I have no desire to be a McDonald's. We live local here, so I would much rather be a Gabe's or a Cafe Bloom coffee shop than a Starbucks or a Longhorn.
Sure.
That's just my heart.
Yeah.
I like the relational equity it brings. Robin and I have a wonderful, it's called Pasta de Puccinella in Midtown. And it is a single owner.
Yep.
Just wonderful.
Yeah.
We know everybody.
When you go in and you have the same familiar face, I feel the same way. There's a couple local restaurants here, and even there's chain restaurants. But when you go into places and you feel like I'm known here, it's what makes me want to come back.
Yeah, I go to Carrabba's a lot with my parents and Longhorn. Yeah, I go all of them. I know everybody. Yep. They know us. One of the, many of the waiters at Longhorn or waitresses, call me brother and call my mom and dad mommy and poppy, right? So my dad's been going there since 1990. So, but I tell Robin, I like that because I love to know people. And so if I have a choice for a mom and pop where I know people versus I'm gonna run by McDonald's or Taco Bell on the way home, I don't mind that. But at midnight. But I think my passion is I want people to walk in the door and go, God, they know me, they love me. There's something deep about being known. And I do know this to be true. I've been in some large churches.
I think it holds you accountable, too.
Well, I've been in large churches on staff, and it's very easy just to drift in and drift out and never be known.
Yeah.
And as somebody told me years ago, they said, I haven't been here in 6 weeks. And I felt awful. I was like, oh, my God, you're right. And then it dawned on me, if you've slipped in and slipped out as easy as possible, there has to be some responsibility to be known. You have to be willing to be known.
Has to go both ways.
Has to go both ways. Yeah. You have to be willing to make yourself known. And so I love that side of ministry. I love the side of knowing people, caring for people, checking on people. I say this jokingly. I want the people that are my pallbearers to know me.
Yeah.
Not just, hey, can you call a few friends?
Can you get somebody
He was really heavy.
That side?
We need some extra people. But
I think
to be known and be loved are the highest human desires.
And I think a dear friend of yours passed away this last week, and when we were talking about it, I think there's a pretty high expectation that a lot of people are going to be at that funeral, which means that a lot of people knew him. I think it's pretty sad to live your life in a way that if you guard yourself off from being known, it's a pretty sad ending. Right. It's one thing to outlive everybody around you. That's a different kind of sad.
Somebody asked me 10 years ago about this church here, about Believers. They said, I don't think your model works. And I said, come again? They said, yeah, there's no way you can scale this because then, you know me, I give my cell number to everybody.
First week I met you.
Right.
Hey, what's your phone number?
Yeah. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I have thousands of contacts, and he said, that's impossible. How are you going to text everybody when your church grows? And without thinking, it had to be a God thought because it definitely wasn't something I planned. I said, easy. I'm going to do it like Jesus. He said, what do you mean? I said, he just found 12 people that called it, and he poured into the 12. I said, I'm just going to find people who believe relationship is important, believe that authentic vulnerability relationship is important. God will bring them to me, and then I'm going to teach them to do what I do. And now you know what I have? I have groups of people all over Believers Church. No, they're not in a B group together. They're not in some small group, but they're all in a contact and they're texting each other all the time.
Yeah.
In groups.
In the background.
Yeah. Just checking on you. How you been? Love you. Pray for this. Pray for that. I think I got 4 threads
of group
texts that they add me in. And I just tell them, look, I can't answer all of them, but it does bring me joy to know, hey, it worked.
Yeah.
Like we're caring for each other, but I'm not caring for you because I'm leading a group or caring for you. I'm caring for you because you're my brother, and I added you into this group chat.
We live in the same house.
Yeah. And we're checking on each other during the day. And now out of that, guess what happens? Out of the 15 or 20 that are getting texts, 5 of them break off and decide to start a motorcycle group. Now we got a group that started organically. Versus, God, we need to get more groups. What are we going to do? And then we get
you find somebody and you're like, I need you to start a group about this.
Yeah, and then we got another guy that says, man, I really want to disciple some guys and call it Fight Club. I'm like, go for it.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah, so what happens is in the organic relational equity of togetherness, you find weaknesses and then people start getting inspired to remedy the weakness. Versus we really got to reach young adults who, I'm not opposed to that, but who could reach the young adults? And we run through a list of 50 names, maybe. And here's how I think. you can ask, and somebody typically will feel guilty enough to go, okay, I think we could do it, which is a model I'm not opposed to. Ask and you will receive. I think the highest level is somebody else going, I realize a need and I feel like I'm supposed to fill it.
Do it. Yeah.
It's a high, it takes longer. And then sometimes people are going, well, if they want me, they'll ask me. So it's this dual
game. It's like a little dance.
It's a dance. So if they need me, they'll ask. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll ask, but you'll do it because you'll feel guilty. I would rather you just do it because it's in your heart. So there's this nuance of asking and making a way and what's the next step and where do I go? And this is what I said last week. We've muddied it up. It should be easy. Love God, love people, but that's not, because it's just not easy.
So let's dig into, I guess, where we can head with this conversation, since this is kind of an unprompted, we're rolling with it. We started this podcast talking about how life's crazy right now, and now we just kind of talk through, as you're in reflection mode, you've made yourself very available to a lot of people, which has got to be exhausting. And at the same time, we talked about there's all these reasons for people to not join a group, not be involved, not be in community. And I think, like, for me, if every month runs like this month ran, I totally can get how I can hermit crab. What do you think are the reasons that we avoid this, and how do you think we overcome that?
I don't know if it's avoid. I think it's by default. I told Robin this. We were talking about youth. How do you reach the youth of this generation? I said, well, we got to start with, it's not like we did in the 1990s, right?
Sure.
It's a whole different world, because now,
I don't know. I think we should bring back those, what was, like, the motion dances to a song, like, what do they call those? That's a fine arts thing.
The human video.
Human video. Yeah, let's bring that back.
I can do that. I still remember. You're all I want. You're all I need. While the devil pulls on me and rips my shirt off while I smoke a cigar and drink a beer. I think that,
I know I'm getting old because I kind of reflect on those things. I'm like, man, things were better back then.
God, I have no clue what I used to say to people.
No, I looked
in the day.
young, but I'm getting old.
So here's my thinking. It's just a different culture, and I think we have to answer. And by that, I don't necessarily mean bad, but I have never, in 36 years of pastoring, I have never seen families so strapped with time and with so many obligations, especially young with children. Now we have ball, we have travel ball, we have class, it's just
on top of the normal things like health problems.
Yes,
church,
what used to be priority.
Yeah.
We go to church. My children go to the youth of that church. That's just what we do. Now it's my kids are in ball, my kids are in travel ball, my kids are at cheer, football, soccer, tennis, whatever, gym.
All the
my
things.
Kids. Oh, also they do travel ball, and so church, not necessarily.
It's kind of taking the back burner.
It's the back burner for sure. It's optional.
Yeah.
25 years ago, church was mandatory.
Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night.
You went, and it was expected if you went there, your children went to youth, whether they liked it or not. That's just where we go. We build. Now, it's man, my parents go here, but I don't like those youth, so I'm going to go over here. And then we're like, where do we? And then I'm not even going because I can't go because I've got ball, I've got travel, I've got this, I've got that. Parents are navigating working 2 jobs just to make ends meet. So to then turn
both parents are working for sure.
And so think that through. Yeah. I work probably 5 to 6 days a week.
Yep.
I'm parenting. I'm doing homework. I'm traveling. I'm probably involved in some way in a sport or a hobby of my children. And then I come to church and somebody says, oh, I need you to work here and I need you to give me some money. So
and join a group.
Yes. So now it's another, if you're really going to grow, you better join this group. And so if I'm not careful, I join out of obligation. Like, oh God, they need me in the group. I better go. And kind of what you said, you kind of come in skeptical. And if you stay long enough, you're like, dude, I needed this.
100%.
I needed it. Right?
When my wife and I moved to Florida, we joined a group. And the first 4 times, it was just like, man, why are we doing this?
Right.
And then in reflection, and you couldn't see it until you got out of it, where it's like, oh, man, that was really good.
Yeah, like, but it's very difficult to get that buy-in when you're not required to be there.
Yeah.
Your kids are required to show up to their sporting event. You're required to show up at work. But I can't require you to come to a group. We just know when you do plug in and you do stay and you do serve, that the people who serve and the people who get plugged in a community, they really do well.
Yeah.
Right? Spiritually, they grow. Their emotional status, because they feel like they're part of a community outside of the hustle and bustle. And so again, I go back to the marketing and the snake oil. It's you need to get in a group and you need to get on a team, and you should be generous, because all of that's life-changing. But when I come in the door frazzled,
that's life-changing because it's not normal.
Yeah, I think it's life-changing because God designed it to be life-changing.
And I guess that's my point. Like, it's not the standard culture that we live in, and so it's life-changing. It's impactful because it's not normal. Because you're drinking from a cup that's not.
Your spiritual community was God's idea, not your own. You can have your community of tennis and your community of football and basketball, golf, whatever.
Yeah.
But because God didn't design that community, that's human design. The church, the local church, is the mandated mind and wisdom of God. And so when you find a body of church people who are on a spiritual mission for prayer, communion, worship, growing in faith, that should be mandatory, because that is a community designed by God. So, I always argue this if I get into it with somebody and we're talking about why church. I say because the community you have with your golf buddies, the community you have with your football people, that is community, but it's not church, because all of that was going on before Jesus said, I'm going to build my church. They were having community back in his day. They would get together. They were having weddings and get-togethers. And they were doing all that.
Yep.
But he didn't say, I'm going to build a community. He said, I'm going to build a called-out group of people on a mission for faith who represent my name, who grow in faith, who disciple each other and obey my commands. And when they get together, they will sing hymns. They will pray, and not just for each other, but prayers for kingdom advancement, and they will share the faith. They will grow in faith and keep each other accountable. Go get them. And so now what's happened is I find all of my relational value in other places that I can call community. Motorcycle riding with some guys, and it is community in the sense of it's friendship, but it's still not church. So I only think this through. If I'm going to tackle it like a devil from an enemy, I'll just simply give you the lie that all community is the same. And in that way, you can go, look, man, I'm hanging out with people at football. We're laughing. We're throwing a beer back. We're praying together. We're doing whatever. We're doing all the things Christians do. And I go, great, but that's still not church. Church is you're there for the propagation of faith, to pray, to take communion, to celebrate in testimony, right?
Yep.
And to witness of the faith. That's church. If you're not doing that, then you're not church. You're just a group of people hanging out that are Christians. And so I think to have a local group of people where you go, that is my people, that is my church, that is my public gathering. Because here's one thing different about church as a community versus my golf buddies as a community. When you're in a church of community, you'll have to sit by people you don't like, serve with people you don't like, sit in a group with people you don't like.
All the time.
And it grows you up.
Yep.
When you're just out there golfing with your buddies,
I like these people.
Yeah, I like these people.
It's easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
So I think church is given to us by God to grow our faith in a way nothing else will. So now what? I've just sold the goods that church is just community and teamwork. And because of that, it's like, I already have that. I'm on a team, a football team. I serve with my kids. I'm a coach. Oh God, I'm so busy. If I can squeeze church in, I will. And then you come here and somebody says, well, you need to serve on a team here. And it's like, God, I'm so tired. I don't want to serve. I just want to sit.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. I would want to sit too. I'm like, man, dear Lord, I've been raising 4 daughters to come home and serve again and again, and I'm strapped for money anyway, and now they want me to come and give. And so if I only view it that way, it is frustrating.
Yeah.
It is like, I just want to sit here and just listen. I just want somebody else to keep my kids. But if I look at it as a spiritual command, then I say, here's the difference. Not only is serving here not going to wear me out because I'm serving in a house for God, for his kingdom and his public gathering, I'm going to reap.
I'm going to tap into something I can't get.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's supernatural. And so you come away serving with other people going, God, I needed that. I needed that spirit. And because it's a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
And that some people may argue that, but that's where I land on why it is so critical to be involved, to give, to be generous, to serve, to show up weekly. You're not, quote, required to be here, but Jesus said it's a command.
So going back to in reflection mode, you're around at third base. What do I need to do to make margin in my life?
You have to be honest with yourself of what really matters to you, because I think the things we say matter. All I have to do is just look at your giving, or I just look at your ATM deposits and withdrawals and go, okay, here's what matters to you, because that's where your money goes. I can just look at your time and go, your Google Calendar, here's what matters. No, man. And so at the end of the day, what we have to ask ourselves,
you kind of got to audit yourself.
You have to have an audit. And an audit hurts because it says right here, this is very weak, and there's your wife is a CPA, my dad, brother, everybody's a CPA.
She's an auditor too.
Yeah. The audit hurts because it comes in and goes, I see some sketchy things here. I see some anomalies here. We need to go through and look at this. This doesn't look normal. I don't think many people want to look at that. I think we just want to pay bills, survive, keep my marriage together, get my kids out of school, do the best I can do, and really not sit down and go, let's just leave church attendance on a public gathering out. Do you even sit down with your children and read the Bible to them? Do you pray with them? Do you talk Christ? And let's say you are out at the football and you are serving as a coach. Do you offer prayer? Do you talk about Jesus? That's the 50 feet, right? Do you talk about Jesus there? Because I think a lot of times we dichotomize the spiritual self with the emotional, natural, physical self. And I try not to, that's what I teach here. There's no separation. And so I believe that we're busy by nature. We're distracted. We're burning the iron at both ends of the fire burning.
Rest doesn't seem to be a normal thing.
No, it's not in this culture. It's go, keep up. Because if not, this would be I've raised all my kids, right? But I would say I could probably take you as a father and say, I could make you feel real guilty. What, you're not going to let your kid be involved? You're going to make your kid go to church rather than be on the sport team? Because
you can pressure me with culture. Yeah.
So it really becomes,
Which, by the way, how many of us are playing professional sports now?
Right. So if I said to you, hey, on Sunday night we have a youth for our kid, and you said, well, Sunday night my kid has to play ball. Well, I don't make that call for you.
Yeah.
You're the one. Do I want my kid going to play ball, hoping he's going to get a scholarship and be on this team, or do I want my kid going to a spiritual group to help grow their faith? And then you can wrestle that out. Well, I'm going to grow my kid's faith and teach him how to live for Jesus on the team. And I'm like, okay, but still that's not church, but that's okay. Great call. Or, hey, son, you're not going to play on that team because they meet on Sunday and that's not what we do. Your travel ball is gone all the time, and that's not what we do, because church is a priority for us. This spiritual group of people is a priority for us. Here's why it's a priority. I rarely see that anymore.
Yeah.
Church.
That's how I was raised. Not that I couldn't be on the team, but there were things I was going to have to give up, right?
Yeah.
On Wednesdays, I left practice early because this is where you're going to be.
I did it in college, and I was a grown-up, and I went to my teacher who said, this is when we have this class. And I went to her and said, look, I really appreciate that, this. I said, but however, I'm a Christian, and Wednesday is when I go to church. Would it be okay if? And she looked at me and said, well, I can probably work something out, right?
Yep.
Like just being bold.
But are you even willing to ask?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, no condemnation, because I don't parent other people's children. I'm just saying that my expectations of God have dwindled in I think I expect things out of God, like fix this, help my kid get on this, do this for me, do this. I have all these expectations for God, but then does God put that back on me? Like, Mark, I have expectations of you. This is what you need to be doing. And I'm always going to land on the public gathering of God's people is church. It's not the ball field that's church. And I hear people do say, well, church is wherever you are. And I'm like, no.
Hey, there's nothing like church on the lake. Bring your boat on over.
Church is not wherever you are. Christ is wherever you are.
Yeah.
Church is a public gathering of people who are testifying of God's glory, who are sharing the gospel, who are praying for each other, who are taking communion, who are praying specifically for the kingdom together. And then they go, ready, break, and they go live Christ. So, yeah, I think Christ is everywhere I am, and hopefully I'm representing the life. But church is not me kicking back a beer on a pontoon boat going, there's two Christians here, this is church. No, you're just two fellas that love a beer in the lake, and you're fishing, enjoy it. And you carry Christ with you, but that's not what Jesus meant when he said a public assembly of people gathered together for a specific purpose to propagate the gospel. People are going to argue with that all day long. I just land my
I think the
on
one
that.
thing I've learned as a young leader, typically leading people older than me, right? That's kind of my day-to-day role at work. It's amazing how afraid people are to ask for things. But in reality, most people respect the ask. You know, to your point of, did you even ask? Are you willing to ask because you're so afraid they might say no?
Right.
What if they do say no? Then, you know, I think that puts you in a position where you have to make a decision.
Can I call somebody and see if they'll answer?
Please.
I want to just see. I know she texted me this week and said she was upset. She's like, where's the podcast? And I said,
that's a great question. Where is Keaton?
Been a little busy, but
we tried to make it here Saturday, and I didn't make that happen.
I'm going to see if they'll answer. Maybe they will.
Who we calling?
A mom and that goes here to the church. We'll see what she says.
Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have the wrong number. Let's see.
That's what happens when you get 1,000.
That.
That's what happens when you get 1,000 phone numbers in your phone. Hello.
We'll try this one. We'll see.
We'll just see.
Yeah.
I'm glad that was the wrong number and that wasn't a...
Jamie?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good. I'm glad I got you. Mark Evans, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Wonderful. You're on the podcast.
What?
Hi, Jamie.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
And we're just recording, and you popped in my heart. So actually, I have two Jamie in my number, and I called the first one. It was the wrong number. I was scared to talk. I just hung up.
I don't think they would have helped the podcast either.
Okay, I have a question for you because we're talking about church and how distracted people get. Is church important? What is church? And you popped in my heart because every week you have multiple children. You show up every week. You even birthed your last kid, and I think like 3 days later, you're sitting on the front row with your children. And I said, I got to call her to just hear, what about you in your mind gets you out of bed with, how many children do you have?
I have 3.
You have 3.
Wow.
You get out of bed every single time, even if you've birthed a child that week, which I was shocked the last time. I'm like, what are you doing here? And you said, it's church. I'm coming to church. Yet nobody makes you come. Nobody makes you feel guilty, but you do it every week. Tell why you feel that way.
Growing up in a believer, I grew up in Believers, and then I kind of left for a little bit, but I've always been raised on community is important, and so just, I don't know, sitting at home and listening to a sermon that I probably already have heard is just not it. I like getting there. I like being in the environment of the Holy Spirit with other people, just really being around people and, talking about life and worshiping with my people.
I love it. Let me ask you a question. What do you see different about church people versus Jamie, who just has community and eats a sandwich with a friend, versus I'm going to go to church where my church community is?
I think it's a little different because I think when I go to church, it's a little more filling for me.
Okay.
Whereas, like, if I'm going out with a friend, I'm typically taking people out for, lunch and stuff to try to help them. So, like, church is my time. Hanging out with other people is my time to, like, disciple and help draw people to the Lord.
Love it. Thanks for letting us get in the middle of your day.
You're welcome.
Thanks for answering.
Yep. I'll holler at you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
So there you have it.
This is no joke. She has a baby. And she had a baby on Tuesday. She's in church.
That's crazy.
I'm shocked. Like, what are you doing? That's every kid she's had.
Wow.
She shows up. She's like, no, I'm going to be here. These are my people. And so, I love what she said because it kind of answers, I think, both and. Like, why do I gather publicly with people? Because I'm going to be challenged. I'm going to hear a word that's going to make me grow.
Yep.
And
that goes down the discipleship situation.
If I'm out on the pontoon, I can pick whatever I want to listen to. But if I'm part of a community, I'm going to listen to whatever they're bringing that day.
Right. So I can't pick and choose what I don't want to hear.
And if God sent me there, probably what's going to be said that day is
something I need.
Yeah, something I need, even if it comes from a friend that's talking to me.
Right.
Because like she said, I show up expecting to get something from the Holy Spirit here.
Right.
But I love what she said. She's like, during the week, it's more about me.
It's the 50 feet.
Yeah, it's more about me pouring into them. And when I gather, it's more about God pouring into me. I think that's a great
answer.
Yeah, it's a great answer.
Yeah.
So my question would be, if you're out on a field and you're calling it football, or basketball or wherever, and you're calling that my church, I would just say, are you being challenged spiritually by a word given to you that's growing your faith? And the answer is going to be no. Most people are not out there preaching a message of Jesus. We're there for football, right? But you could be out there growing other people. You could be that.
You could
message.
be pouring into people.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I mean by 50 feet. It's both. I gather to be equipped, and I leave to go lead others to Christ.
So one of the other things I've learned, and I'm dealing with right now with other people, is the skill set of self-reflection will make or break you as a person. We talked about ego. We've talked about self-audits. What do you think keeps people from being able to see themselves clearly in the mirror? Is it just ego? Like, we've got the situation where I'll paint some more context to it, right? Almost every single person that's ever been fired
from your job,
from my job,
okay,
right? When I'm reflecting back on how did we get here, what seems to be obvious every time is this person couldn't see themselves clearly, and even if I told them, they couldn't hear it. Why is that?
Well, we talked about this last night at table time, right? We got pretty deep into it, and that
was my topic, and I wasn't even there. I'm
right?
the one that brought it up.
But hey, we missed you though. We said a hoorah for you.
Pour out a Diet Coke for me.
Pour out a Diet Coke. You asked me to, I did.
Thank you.
Bottled. Best Diet Coke ever is a bottle.
I agree.
So
fountain from the right fountain.
Okay, true.
Yeah.
I'll give you that, which would be Longhorn.
Okay.
So I said self-awareness and self-confidence, right? That was what was put on the board. The two things, self-awareness, how do they work? Can you be aware and confident?
I'm very self-confident. I feel good about
There's
myself.
a lot of people self-confident, but it doesn't matter if you're self-confident or not. You can either do the job or you can't. So I don't care how you feel. Can you get the job done?
Yeah.
It's self-awareness of, you're coming across really cocky here and like I said, an a-hole, because you're unaware of how you're coming across in your cockiness of being confident. And so my kickback was, I believe everybody runs from a realm of conviction first. And your conviction is what your awareness and your confidence rolls out of. So by conviction, I mean what was put in you by your parents before you ever asked, what was put into you through your first friendship structures before you ever asked. You learned it as you grew.
Yeah.
And I call those convictions. Sometimes we deconstruct from them like, I don't like that upbringing. But it was still put in you without your opinion. It was told, this is how you will act. This is how you will believe. So I bring that to my adulthood. And I operate out of conviction. Some of that is I'm never noticed, so because I wasn't noticed as a kid, and by God, I'm going to get noticed.
I'm going to make sure I am.
So it rolls out of deep-seated convictions.
Okay.
Even if you tell me, bro, you got to back off a minute. You're a little overbearing. You're asking me to back off of a habit and a security blanket that I've had since I was 8 years old.
Right.
Because I got rejected, I got hurt, I got molested, I got abused, I got nobody picked me on the team, and by God, I'm not going to be last
Some kind of
anymore.
trauma when you were young
Shaped you in a conviction.
Yep.
And in that conviction, you either run from it or you learn to manage it and grow from it. And so rather than looking at somebody and going, I wonder how aware they are, the better question is, what convictions do you operate from? And you might hear, man, I'm a get it done guy. I ain't nobody going to ever outdo me. And well, what you start hearing is their convictions come out. And now that conviction can come out in confidence. Ain't nobody ever going to outdo me. Or it might come out in lack of confidence. I just always feel like I'm struggling.
Man, and never good enough.
Never good enough, no matter what I do.
Yeah.
Somebody always gets the job instead of me. So if you listen long enough, you realize that their upbringing, their parenting, how they were raised, the hurts, the traumas, the failures, the wins, have long shaped them before they ever got a job with you. And they motivate out of conviction. I truly believe every human motivates from a realm of conviction. We're either constructing or deconstructing them as we grow. If you're smart enough, you're deconstructing and constructing. You're learning what works and what doesn't work, and that's a smart human.
You're playing the game.
You're playing the game. That's just a smart human.
Yeah.
And then the next word I brought out was convictions always override authenticity, and that's self-awareness, the authentic self. And the authentic self is rarely let out of the bag because of convictions. If I let you know who I really am, you're not going to like me.
I'm afraid you won't like me.
If I let you know what I really struggle with, you won't hire me. So convictions always override authenticity. And so for me to be authentic, I could be rejected, I could be fired, so we kind of live in a system where the self-aware, authentic self is masked by convictions. So that I really don't know the real you unless I've worked with you long enough, or
I know the version of you that you
want me to know.
Yeah.
And that's based on conviction. So in the church world, it's the same way. Do we really know the people that we sit next to? Probably not. Even those we work with, probably not. The only way we know them is they have to be open and vulnerable. So
Which goes back to deep relationships.
And you come here and you've said, I like it because you just stand up and tell people what you struggle with.
Yep.
Well,
it feels like we're talking together, not I'm being
I would have
preached
never
at.
done that in my 20s and 30s pastoring.
Yeah.
Let you know my weaknesses. You don't follow weak people. You follow strong people. You follow people with vision.
I think one of the most refreshing things is, or maybe the most strong thing, is for you to say, this is what I struggle with, because I don't know many people who can do that.
Which is why in my messages, if you're trekking with the messages, you will always see I say, this is my opinion and my thought.
Yep.
I'm just working it out with you, but I'm willing to, I even say that it's my opinion, but I believe it's strong enough to put it to you. You work it out. I believe that I said this last night and we had kickback. It was fun because I liked that. Like we were kind of wrestling it out, because I said, I don't think your authentic self rarely comes out until you're older. You finally reach an age where you're like, this is just who I am.
And I don't care to put on a show anymore.
I don't care to put on a show because I've learned that my authentic self that used to be governed by my convictions.
Yep.
Don't do that. They won't like you. Don't do that. That's not what a Christian should do. Now my authentic self sits here, and I say they work hand in hand, because my convictions keep my authentic self from being an idiot and a fool, and my authentic self keeps my convictions from me being a hypocrite. And the older you get, they both are just in front of you. This is who I am, Keaton. This is the kind of pastor I am, the kind of friend I am. These are my weaknesses. This is what I struggle with. You've heard me say pouting.
Yep.
And the people that go here go, God, he talks about that all the time. True.
That's what I'm struggling with.
Because that's what I need you to know, that it's not like you arrive and get over it. Usually your authentic self has these deep-seated critical areas that don't go away because you get born again. You just learn that the convictions of your faith, learn how to manage that.
And what I've learned from working with Brian, thanks, Brian, is a lot of times that point you say, like when you get older, where you come to that realization, is what most people define as a midlife crisis, where
the authentic self is fighting.
All of a sudden it's like, that's not who I am.
Right.
Why am I pretending that's who I am?
Why am I working
None
this
of this
job
matters.
I hate? Right.
None of this matters.
Right.
That was when I started working with Brian. I guess it's been about a year now. I said, I'm really struggling to wrap my head around, okay, I've had a lot of very fast success. I'm still very young, and I'm sitting here looking around thinking, like, none of this matters. All the things I thought mattered don't matter.
Okay, psychologically, what's happening? I'm not a psychologist.
Sure.
But,
you're a smart guy, though.
well, I've just counseled a lot of people, and I'm good at assessing human.
What is the point?
Yeah. The midlife crisis is what I would define of the duality and the warfare between conviction and authentic self. That's when they war.
They're meeting.
They're meeting for the first time, and they're having a war of, what have I done with my life? Why am I in a job I hate? Have I been successful for no reason? What is my purpose? I can't believe I'm killing myself for this. Now, depending on who wins that fight, all right, is going to determine probably the rest of your life.
Wow.
I think so.
Yeah.
Depending on whether your convictions shut your authentic self down and you go, just knuckle it up, man, white knuckle it, keep going, suck it up, keep going. I hate this job, but I need this job. Because one thing about authentic self will do is it's going to put you in a place of risk. It's going to, curiosity, right, is one of the words I've been holding on to this year. Curiosity brings a risk and an evaluation to you. Is it worth it? Because typically the authentic self, when it comes out, is going to say, so do you want to stay in this job you hate?
Why are you doing this?
And you're going to say convictions, yeah, man, I got to pay my bills, got to be a good husband, I got to provide for my children. So I'm just going to suck it up for the sake of my kids. And then dad, I'm not saying everybody, but typically when the authentic self keeps getting pushed back in your older years, not your younger, your older years, your authentic self, because it's killing to, man, I got to live for something, a higher purpose. And you push it back, that's when we get into depression, medication, anxiety, drinking, habits. Just stay busy, just keep going, stick with the grind, check my money.
Numb it.
Yes.
Find a way to numb it.
Mm-hmm. But you find they interviewed a group of elderly people, and this was a research, so wasn't just random.
Yeah.
And they went around and polled people in their 80s, and they asked them, hey, tell us, looking back over your life, do you have any regrets? Across the board, it was almost unanimous. Every one of them said, I wish I would have taken more risk. All right, now, the way I would say that is the authentic self was crying.
On the inside.
And
please give me a chance. And
the convictions were like, no, just work, just pay your bills, just get it done, just be loyal, just get the watch.
That's the thing I'm deathly afraid of is not being able to live life as full as possible.
Do you know what's the most frustrating about the authentic self? It usually shows up in entrepreneurs. That's why they've been broke 20 times. They've started 4 businesses.
Just keep going.
But they just keep going because they're trying to find it, but they're willing to risk it.
Yep.
And they're willing to put them. And so an entrepreneur comes across as arrogant. Yep. They come across as, dude, slow down. Get over it. Overconfident. Yep. It's because what's happened is the authentic self is out front. Their convictions are back here, so they don't mind bankrupting.
Yep.
They don't mind starting 5 LLCs to make it work. They don't mind having 9 failures. Because when
they get it right once, it'll be worth it.
Right. Because that's their conviction.
Yeah.
I'm going to live my authentic self because my convictions are behind me, saying keep going for the authentic self till you find the thing you need to find.
Now I know what I got to talk about to Brian about next.
And so I would imagine my thinking is that most young men, especially married at home with children and a wife working too, most are not living their authentic self. They're in survival. They're living their convictions. Just be a good mom, a good dad, take care of the kids, get them out of high school, show up at every event they have. And yet dad's miserable. He's numbing with alcohol every night. They haven't had sex. They're not intimate. They don't have time to be intimate together.
Life gets cold.
They're passing like ships in the night. Why? Because authenticity and conviction are starting to war.
Wow.
And so what happens in that, if you don't answer it well, it turns into an affair because the authentic person is screaming, I need to be loved. I need to be noticed. I need to be.
Why can't you see me?
Because, yes. So why would a man go cheat on a woman that's been with him forever and raising children with him and all? Because that authentic self is, I've got to find the freedom. I've got to be known. I've got to be loved. I'm going to risk it, the risk. And you can tell every man cheating is going to kill you and your family and your character and
it won't change it.
No. Because what starts happening is the authentic self begins to override convictions. And so what I say to people is,
so they need to live in harmony.
You're going to have to,
yeah.
Because that's what I say.
So it's not just I just need to let my authentic self live. It's how do
if you let your authentic self live, you will do stupid.
Yeah.
With no convictions. But if you have convictions that aren't willing to say my authentic self, you end up being a dead human that's just paying bills, and you're not fulfilled. I could probably, just guessing, I could probably pull 20 people in a room and ask them, are you really fulfilled?
Yeah.
And most, if they're in their 30s raising kids, it's going to be, well, not yet, but
I'm going to get there.
I'm going to get there. I love my kids.
Yep.
I love, hate my job. I have to work all the time. Here we go. Hustle and bustle, the grind. But I got a house and kids, we're making it.
You see, and I think what I struggle with is like, I do love my job, but I just wonder, is there something else? Like this, you've called me out on it many times. Being satisfied is not my not my gift. And so
there's a conviction there.
Yeah.
That in your mind, you've convinced yourself that satisfaction is a lower self.
To be satisfied.
Yes.
Yeah.
In your personal conviction.
Yeah.
Satisfied to you is a lower version of yourself.
Yeah.
So there's this weird thing in you that's going to be pushing. There's this higher version of Keaton out there. I got to find it because your conviction
there's
is
more.
Because that's a conviction. So either the way you were raised or things you've seen in others or something you're running from, which would be failure.
Yep.
Or something you're chasing to be better than your friends, to prove a point that I've got here faster than everybody else. I don't know what that would be, but obviously something motivates a man to go, I'm chasing this thing because my conviction is if I settle, it's a lower version of me. I'm better than this. Now that might be more money. It might be a bigger house. But all of that's going to be the convictions that you've assessed on your own. They've been given to you by your parents.
I think it can be the fear of, I don't want to be 80 and say I didn't risk.
And that's a conviction. So therefore, somewhere in your life, the conviction and the authenticity of, am I willing to go after that thing? And you may lose everything. Yeah. You may lose the house. You may lose the car. You may lose the credit score because I started a business that failed. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to fear it. And so it's me coming here 16 years ago with, I don't know if I want to be in Douglasville, but I know what God wants me to do, and I want to go out swinging. And so I was willing to live in a basement.
Yeah.
I was willing to, when I started the first church, I was willing to live with my 4 daughters or 3 daughters then and live with their aunt in a bedroom. I would piled up on the floor. I was willing to start my first church with $20 offering. I was willing to sell my house and my van so I could have money to start the church. What man sells his house
with 3 kids
and his brand new van we had just bought so we could go start a church?
Yeah.
And live with so we sold a beautiful home. It's brand new to go live with my wife's aunt. And so
in a basement with nothing, with 3 kids.
With 3 kids. We lived in her bedroom. And when we moved up here to my dad's, I had no money. You've heard that. I had $6,000 to my name. Yeah. I lived with my dad in a basement with 4 kids.
Wow.
With all my stuff in several storage units. No money. And so that's what I mean by the authentic self will challenge, what do you really believe?
Yeah.
And what are you willing to give up? And, Robin and I are like, are we willing to give up 304 Green Valley Drive to go start a church in Sylvania, Georgia, to ultimately live in a rat hole of a house called 705 South Main that over nearly 17 years we're going to fix up to a show place. But it had shag green carpet. It had 92 sheets of wallpaper on the wall because it was built in the early 1900s. We bought it, ripped all the carpet up, and the first thing we did is realize, oh, my God, there's heart pine floors. So we got in and just redid all the floors. But we lived there 17 years, and we made something out of it because we were willing to risk the authentic self. I told her, I don't want to be a youth pastor. It's good money.
Yeah.
I want to go start a church. That's what I want to do with my life.
It's safe.
I want to go plant a church. So that means I had to quit a job, sell a house. I had to sell a van.
Massive risk.
And yet none of my children or my wife or myself ever look back and go, I wish we hadn't have done that.
Yeah.
But we had to cry a lot. We had to work a lot. But I'm at 60 and I don't have any regret. I came here with no money, $6,000 to my name, and I'm in my mid 40s, and that's all I have. But if you would have asked me, does that make you sad? I'm like, no, because I've been doing exactly what I want to do with my life. So there's trade-offs. I don't have this huge savings account. I don't have all this retirement 401k, but I will say
I've lived life the way I
doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Living it to the full.
Yeah.
Man. Okay.
And I don't think you get there in your 20s, probably not your 30s. But I will say this, almost every human listening will have a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
It is going to hit. And that's where conviction and authentic self begin to war. And if you don't know your convictions,
and that's why you don't have to be old to be in that place.
True. Your authentic
Speaking
self
from
will
experience.
cause you to be a fool and do stupid, and your convictions will cause you to be a dead to yourself.
Man.
And they have to learn how to coexist.
All right, so let's just wrap it all up.
Wrap it.
Get to church on Sunday.
Okay, I'll be there.
Be at church on Easter. Love people. Live fully. Tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
What'd I miss?
I think that's pretty good.
There you have it. I think we're going to end it right there.
Let's do it. I'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.